can't do that. Oh, well, if anybody's here. Oh, wait, do I do it this way? Ah, hello. Oh my goodness, I wonder if it will ever cease to be absolutely terrifying. Oh, I also need to turn this off. Oh my goodness. Hello, magical people. My name is Lou. This is a giant monstera leaf that I am going to move out of the way because that is, I suppose, a little distracting. Hey, is this the Christine that I know, or is this a different Christine? It's a different username, but yes, it is a giant plant. Here, let me actually show you. It's one of those monsteras, and yeah, some of the leaves are pretty gigantic. Actually, I can't really move my camera that much without knocking shit over. But yeah, it's a pretty cool one. I actually got it for really terrific price, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I guess. It is Christine. Oh, good, good, good. I didn't want to talk to you and be like overly familiar and then find out that it was a different Christine. Also, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the chat that is on my laptop. Um, this whole like figuring out the technology of how to stream is deeply terrifying. I'm so glad you're here. So wait, is it how far? It's tomorrow, so it's Friday for you, right? But I don't know if it's Friday morning or Friday night. I think that's right. You're definitely a day away. Oh, nice, nice. I love it. Well, it's so wonderful to see you. Yeah, it feels like it's been forever. It was so lovely when we got to hang out. But geez, I think that was like, was that the beginning of summer? Was that spring? I don't even remember when that was, but it feels like it was eons ago. Um, I was just texting with a friend, and by texting with a friend, I mean I got a text from a friend and have since thought about how to respond, but haven't actually responded to it yet. But she was basically remarking on how, like, suddenly, like, summer's, like, done, and it feels, I don't know, summer trips me out. It didn't used to do this to me, but this last few years, especially with when it gets really hot, it kind of freaks me out. I don't like. I mean, I was never a huge fan of the sun because I burn quite easily, even with sunblock on. But these last few years, the heat has just kind of has a like impact on my mental health, and so I usually kind of like just I don't really want to leave the house as much. I kind of want to be in my space, in the garden or in the house, kind of traveling with wherever the shade is, and just kind of like mostly keeping to myself. But it is kind of wild because like, so I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with Portland weather, but like Portland weather is kind of um, like typically it's varied a little over the last couple of years, but typically it like kind of rains from like October to May, and then it sometimes June, and then it's really like just perfectly beautiful, like 80, 85 and sunny during the summer. Like I said, it's gotten a little dicey over the last couple of years, and fire season is very real, but usually the rains like don't come back. Like they kind of like will have a day on, day off of the rain, and like I don't know. It's been like I don't know. I woke up. I think was it just today? Like it was kind of cool yesterday, but like I woke up today and it's just been that kind of drippy drizzle, the like Portland drizzle, all day long, and it's. I mean, I think it's actually kind of made me feel really happy, honestly, which is not people's usually the typical thing for rain. It is kind of a bummer because didn't realize, I guess, that it was gonna rain. So, it hasn't rained in like months. So like, there's a shit ton of stuff like outside that probably shouldn't have gotten super wet, or probably could have done a better job preparing for it. But anyways, it's just weird because like a few days ago, you know, it was like fucking 90 degrees and I was wearing like a tank top and, you know, my overalls rolled up, and now it's like, you know, fans going, strategically having to close curtains to keep the sun out. Um, no, good God. How much snow do we get regularly? So typically we don't get snow within the city of Portland like regularly ever. Like for the first probably 8 or 10 years that I lived here, um, it was like once every couple few years there'd be like a giant snowstorm. And the city has zero infrastructure for it and nobody knows how to drive. So like when it's happened, like I think it was I think it was this past winter we got a pretty bad storm. It was like probably like 9 or 10 inches of snow, and they literally never plowed the road that I live on. And like right there, less than a block away, is an actual like main street. Like it's one of those roads that it's got a name, but it's also called like Highway 30 because it's a you know a big road. Um, and so yeah, like right off of a main road, and I think they did eventually plow portions of that, but like the strategy is literally to just wait for it to melt, like, which you know I guess historically used to work fine if it was only like once every 5 or 10 years you'd get a storm and it would just pretty much just shut down the city for a couple few days and then everything would return to normal. But now that's happening like it's happened at least once the last 3 winters in a row. And I think maybe this last winter or the one before, I don't know, sometime fairly recently, there was at least two pretty big storms. So, yeah. Um, yeah, it usually does rain here pretty it's weird though. It's not like a driving rain or like KP, I think you're in the Northeast if I recall correctly. And it's not like what I have like grew up thinking of as like, oh, it's a rainy day. It really is more of just like a light drizzle and like there but it's always overcast. Like we don't get like the sun doesn't come out very much because it's not even like it's cloudy. It's just completely gray sky. So like every now and again in the middle of winter, you'll have a couple of days where they have these things called sun breaks, which I'd never even heard of before moving here. But it's where it will become sunny for a few minutes, like just out of the blue every once in a while, several days in between. Um, and then other than that it's pretty overcast, and I mean it does definitely like for real rain sometimes too, but the most of the time it's just kind of a fairly constant light drizzle. um yeah, oh yeah, I see the squirrels in the rain, I see the squirrels in the snow. I have got some really cute not usually like when the snow is falling, like if there's a big storm I don't see them during the storm, and maybe not like immediately right after, but when it's that time, like, you know how like after a big snowstorm, when like it muffle it, like it changes the quality of the sound, kind of like fog changes the quality of sound and the way sound moves. And there's this particular quality after a snowstorm of it being very quiet by comparison to regular life, or maybe that's just, I don't know. Maybe that's just a quality that I've assigned in my mind that's not actually real. But it's usually around that time, a little while after that, that the squirrels will start to venture back out. And I do have on my phone, which has probably thousands of pictures of squirrels from over the years. And I most assuredly have some very cute ones of them perching on something adorable in the snowy yard. But yeah, I see them year round. They are not a hibernating type animal. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't miss winter. Like there's always snow up at Mount Hood. I mean, there are at the peak of Mount Hood, there is one trail that they keep open through like August usually, so that like really like elite athletes can come and what's it fucking called? Practice there. And there's several glaciers up on Mount Hood, so there's always snow at least up at the very peak up there. And during the winter, you know, there are a couple of towns like, or well, the one town government camp that's towards like the peak usually has snow on the ground. So like ultimately, that's only like, I don't know, an hour to an hour and a half away. So I like having snow being close enough that I can get to it, but I really have a strong feelings about shoveling. So that's one of my big things with snow. Um, okay, cool, awesome. Thank you, Christine, for coming. It was so wonderful to see you. And yeah, happy meeting. Oh, hi, Jeremiah Fix. I didn't even see you here, and I don't even think I properly said hello to you, Karma's Pimp. I'm so sorry. How rude. Um, but yeah, the air does feel harder when it's cold, especially when it's cold and when it's dry. And I do get to see hummingbirds. We get this one, I can't remember, it's either the Anna's, I think it's the Anna's hummingbird, or maybe the, yeah, I think it's the Anna's hummingbird is the one that, it's the only one I've ever seen in the city. I think probably if you look at literature, there are other ones that do come into the general region, but it's kind of cool because I also see hummingbirds year round because they migrate. But the ones that I see in the summer are different than the ones that I see in the winter because everybody just kind of like makes this shift. And so I do see them year round. I don't usually put out a feeder much during the summer because there's just so many things blooming in the yard that they come to the yard anyways. They really like the gladiolus. Um, I might make it a short at some point when I get around to it, but I did catch one just a couple of weeks ago that was at one of the gladiolus, just kind of like checking in on all of them. And I also have some, I have like 3 or 4 different bergamot, which is otherwise known as bee balm. And those also they seem to enjoy. And there's honeysuckle, like there's just a bunch of shit around the yard that they really like. So, but in the wintertime, I do put out feeders for them because there's just not enough going on to kind of keep them satiated. No, I don't. You know, okay, so regarding Jeremiah Fix's question about altitude acclimation, so the peak of Mount Hood is like, oh shit, I don't know. It's either 11 or 14,000 feet or somewhere right in there. Um, and the highest spot that you can go for like at the they call it the Timberline Resort, which is that one, like it's a full resort during the winter proper and in most of the spring. But that's the one that I mentioned earlier that has one ski lift open even during the summer. Um, but there's still like that's not at the very peak. Like it's got like thousands of feet beyond that. So you don't I don't actually know what the altitude of like where there's a lodge at Timberline, which is I think that that might be where fucking oh god, what's that movie? It's very famous. I've never seen it because it's scary, but it's got Jack Nicholson in it, and it's about a hotel, and his name is either Jack or Jake or something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Clearly, I'm displaying that I am not a CJ type of host because he knows all the things about the movies, and I know none of the things about the movies. But I think that that movie was filmed at Timberline Lodge, maybe, but I might also not be right about that. But anyways, no. And when I lived up at Mount Hood, I lived probably 1,500 feet or so. I think the altitude that I was at was only like 15 or 1,700 feet. And that was pretty far up the mountain. It was like most of the way up the mountain. Um, so yeah, I don't remember when I lived up there that it was anywhere near having to do any kind of changing to the way that I cooked or made things. Because like Portland, I think is pretty much like at sea level or below sea level, and technically, I mean not technically, geographically, like Portland is within the Willamette Valley. So even though Mount Hood is quite tall, it's not like you really have to go very far up the mountain to be so much higher above everything else, I guess. I mean, there's the West Hills in Portland on the west side. That is, you know, they get snow a little bit more over there than we do on the east side. Actually, now that I think about it, which that's dicey, man. Like those streets, they're so curvy. They're like these back roads going through these like beautiful, like the West Hills kind of exists sort of along this area called Forest Park, which I think is one of the like biggest parks that's within this city limits. Um, in the country anyways, not sure about the world, probably not, but it's huge, and there's a lot of old growth forest, and so, you know, this is the West Hills are pretty bougie, but it's really pretty to drive over there, but I can't imagine what it must be like if you even just have the slightest freeze on the ground. It's, yeah, mm-mm. Yeah. Yes, shoveling sucks. Sorry, I'm just looking. You need to garden plus fever. Yeah, they can grow mold, and that's such a pain in the ass to stay on top of it. And also, like, Portland, at least some parts of it, appears to be built on top of a gigantic fucking anthill. So there's like, I mean, there's ants just everywhere. And so I also have to change them out. Like what I usually do is I'll make a bunch of the sugar water like at once and fill one of the feeders like part way, or a couple of the feeders part way, and then just keep the rest of it in the refrigerator and then change it and rinse them out every day. Because yeah, it's a giant pain in the ass. The Shining, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That would have eventually popped into my mind, probably randomly in like a week and a half. But how was the full moon for everybody? Have you been noticing any sort of like, I don't know, bigger energy? Did it hit at all? Did you even notice it? I've been so curious to see what other people's experiences are like. Um, I was mostly tired. I think I have been, I don't know if it's real or not, and I can gaslight myself about it, but I guess I just prefer to just not gaslight myself and assume it's real. But it seems like I usually, like with full moons and like things that are more likely to have an impact on just one's space, I guess, I tend to be, it tends to hit me a little ahead of the, like leading up to it, not so much as afterwards, I think, a lot of the time. Oh, someone you know got another revelation? Ooh, well, that implies that there was a first revelation, so that makes me super curious. Um, yeah, it is in Pisces. I think, yeah, till tomorrow afternoon, and I don't know, I've been having big feelings all week, but honestly, that just seems to kind of be my life now. It didn't used to be that way, but I just can't seem to escape them a lot of the times. And it's like, yeah, it's always the well, no, it's not true. It's not always the negative feelings. The negative feelings are just, I think, a lot easier to notice, and I think I used to be a lot more skilled at repressing them, but it's like, once you pull out the cork, it apparently just doesn't go back in. So I guess I'm later in life having to learn to emotionally regulate in a different way than before, which was to just pretend it wasn't real, which is annoying, but yeah, so I had kind of the few days leading up to it, I had just sort of felt a little, I guess, especially out of sorts, especially on the sad side, and sleeping like especially bad, like no matter what. And I don't really know the reason why. I've got all sorts of chronic pain that has just been kind of especially activated. And so I went to bed at like 9:45 last night, which is really quite early for me. And I mean, I feel like I probably slept better than I had been, just kind of from pure exhaustion. But I don't know that it was the best sleep. Although it was cool yesterday, and it is definitely a lot easier for me to sleep. I try not to use the air conditioner because I really like living alone, and I really actually can't super easily afford living alone. Um, but the sort of psycho spiritual benefits that I and social benefits that I get from living alone is worth it to me, as long as I can even like make it work enough that all of the bills get paid at least, and the cats and squirrels and me don't starve. And so I'm trying to not use the air conditioner because this is a really old house and doesn't have super good, well, anything. Like the windows are very old and single paned and shit like that, and so there's no like central air, obviously, and so it's all window units, which are just not super efficient and are pretty expensive uh, to operate. So um, yeah, I mean, they don't call it like back east. It's called horsehair plaster, but here I don't. Everybody just calls it plaster, so I don't know if that means that if that's technically a different thing. But it's lath and plaster, or lath, with the little tiny skinny boards that go horizontally with the plaster on top of it. The house was built in like the 19, I think the early 1920s, so it's like about 100 years old, and so it's pretty good insulate. Like it's well, okay. The second floor, which is where the spare bedroom is, was originally an attic, and so it's one of those rooms that sometime I'll take you guys up there. It's one of those rooms that's like the side walls are not full height, and then it's a pitched or peaked ceiling, and you can kind of tell by opening there's a couple of like areas where the side doors open from that on the sidewall, so you can sort of like see into the rest of what is the attic, and like there's no insulation left on that, like it's roof material, and like there's just no insulation, like it's long ago disintegrated. um, I refer to the stuff between drywalls and stuffed around the studs. Yeah, no, I mean there is no drywall. I mean there are no, there is no drywall. I don't think there's a single room except for in the basement, where there was kind of like a portion of the basement was made like closed off into being a room, and I think that's the only drywall in the house. So like literally if I were to peel back what's behind this, it's like underneath the paint it's just plaster, and underneath the plaster it's very thin strips of wood attached directly to the studs. um, yeah, it's an old house. It's an old house. It is a really cool house. Like sometimes when I'm daydreaming about like, you know it's funny, I didn't do this for a super long time, and then for some reason it came up, and I started thinking about it. But like that question of like, what if you like won the lottery, what would you do? I would buy this house. Like this, I just rent it here, and I've lived here for like, gosh, it's gonna be 10 years next, late next winter, early next spring, sometime around then. So I've been here a fucking minute. I think maybe I've lived here longer than any other place I've ever lived in my life, actually. Um, yeah, I think that's right. Interesting. Um, and I fucking love it. But I mean, not that it doesn't have some, like, there's many things it could stand to have done to it uh, that just have. I think there was a long time when it really just wasn't super well maintained, and also it's an old house. Like if I don't stay on top of the gutters, which I'm guessing maybe people didn't do for a really long time, because there's like this crack in the foundation, and if the gutters aren't kept clean, so that the rainwater, especially if it's like raining heavily, not just like with the regular mist, then like water will actually seep in through the crack, the crack in the foundation. And so, like, I have to be more on top of things than I'm really prefer to be, but it's one of those things where like the benefits are just so far outweigh the negatives. Like, I do not like getting in a ladder, um, which, I don't know, I guess I have a little bit of a fear of heights, but, I do it because whatever. I guess I could probably pay somebody. I mean, in previous years, I could have paid somebody. Right now, I'm not paying fucking anybody to do anything I can even remotely do by myself. But, yeah, Karma, I'll give y'all, sometime when I've got, like the upstairs, since it was hot in the summer, like, the only time I've even had the upstairs, like, I've had the door to the upstairs closed, not even the cats can go up there, because it gets blazingly hot. Like, it's just it's unlivable without at least one air conditioner going like constantly. And so, except for a few days when I had a friend visit for a weekend and staying here, when I kind of cleaned it up and turned everything on, I've pretty much just kind of had it shut down. So it's a mess with stripped beds and everything up there. But at some point when I'm not such a disaster and I've tidied up maybe a little, I'll give you guys a tour. I'm a little bit of a, I only like to show what I like to show. I don't know if that's Effie Tool or if that's fucking trauma, but that's the question for all days. But yeah, I also am super lucky with this place because it's, like I said, I've been here for a long time, and for the amount of years that I've been here, they've been very minimalist with increasing the rent. Like, it's definitely gone up a couple few $100 from when I first moved in, but I know a lot of people who, like, I think they have maximums. Like, the city of Portland has a rental increase maximum per year, I think. But I know a lot of people whose landlords, when Portland really started to hit, like, we're pretty much maxing out that increase every year. And my landlords have not done that, and I'm super grateful for that, because that would be a super bummer. Like, it's a pretty good deal. Like, if I wasn't living here, I don't know that I could afford to live anywhere in the city of Portland in a way that didn't feel pretty bad. But yeah, so I'm very, very lucky. This place it's pretty great. It's a weird old house, but it really is pretty great, and they let me do pretty much whatever I want with the yard, which is lovely. The only time that they've intervened is when the giant tree came down out back. The first time the arborist came to cut down the bones of it, they gave me the option of how tall the stump was to be left, and I wanted it quite tall so I could use it as a table. And so they did that, and it was beautiful. It was very level. Like, I was just, they were very kind, which was nice, because I was a super fucking mess that day. I was just a sobbing fool watching them disassemble and then, take down this just massive tree. And the landlord, for some reason, decided they didn't want it that tall, and so they sent the arborist back to cut it down like 18 inches. And when they came back and cut it down like 18 inches, it was like all crooked. He did a terrible job. It wasn't pretty at all. And it was just like salt in the fucking wound. But then, fortunately, my ex Terrell's daughter Belle is dating a lovely young man who is quite brawny and like very big, very strong. And after those huge, like, when they came back and cut the stump, basically he took the top 18 inches, which the tree is like, I couldn't have put my arms around it. So he then also cut it in half because his blade wasn't long enough to get all the way through on one swipe. I don't know how it works, but anyways, that's what he did. And so then he just kind of like pushed him off because when they cut down a tree in your yard, they just leave all of the tree there. Like they just leave you with a yard full of tree, which is a very overwhelming task. Like that's a story for another time, but I nearly lost my shit when that happened. Um, and so then these two giant logs, which especially when the tree was freshly dead, they were quite wet, and very heavy and dense. And so like where they got sort of shoved to as they rolled off the rest of the stump is where they sat for like a year and a half. And then Belle and her boyfriend came over one day and I was like, hey, do you think that you could help me move this? And like literally within like 12 seconds, he like picked up one, plunked it on, picked up the other one, plunked it on, literally like it was nothing. And yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, but I don't know why I started talking about that. Anyways, I don't know what the fuck. But yeah, so anyways, full moon. I don't know. I don't know how I got to the stump from there. Oh, that's right. That's the one time that the landlords have intervened with what is done with the outside space. And other than that, I mean, I do a pretty good job with it. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine anybody walking by and having a problem with any of the things that I do out there. It's pretty. But yeah, so so I've been here a long time, and sometimes I'll give you guys a tour when it's not such a fucking mess. But I'm kind of in that place, I think maybe where, because I don't have a housemate right now, and it's only been since June, or June something or other, so it's just been a little while that I haven't had one, and so it's, I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, ooh, I can be a little lazy and sort of, instead of all of the way washing the dishes, just kind of like, rinse them and just sort of let them chill in the sink and just do a whole bunch of them at once. And yeah, I've gotten a little lazy. Like, it's weird because when I'm cohabitating with other people, I tend to be kind of I'm more controlling of the space, I think, and I also am much more like my performativity. I guess that's what it is. It kind of goes up. Like, yeah, like the kitchen is like clean every night before I go to bed because it makes the morning feel less chaotic. But I think part of the reason, I don't know, I'm just kind of talking shit out loud right now, but I think maybe part of the reason why I do tend to over control when there's other people that I'm trying to share space with is that I find it difficult to share space with people, and I find it like kind of overwhelming and a bit chaotic. And so in order to sort of manage that overwhelm and chaos as much as possible, I think I tend to over sort of control the environment in a way. We're try to manage it a lot more strictly so that it's not something else that's just potentially causing overwhelm. I don't know. Yeah, who fucking knows? Trying to figure myself out for years, and I am quite certain that I haven't gotten it yet. I mean, I don't know. Can anybody really know themselves? I think in some ways it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder about that kind of shit. I think I might take you guys out to the front porch with me and smoke a cigarette, if that's okay with you. I mean, even if you say no, well, if you said no, that would just be kind of mean. And also, like, I'm in my own house and you're not even here, so why you gotta be that way? Yeah. anyhow, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit like I'm feeling pretty ready for autumn, I've got to say. I feel like I'm pretty ready for autumn. I'm not necessarily ready for the constant um, dampness. I do like the return of the rains, but I also kind of like that period where it's not omnipresent, where you still have, you know, some sunshine, and, you know, you can hang out outside with and sit down on a chair without your ass getting wet. But oh, hey, Miss Fortune, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. How is it going? How did the full moon treat you? Um, but yeah, I'm kind of ready for autumn. Like I like being able to just have the windows open without. I don't know. I like the in between. I really like spring and autumn. I like it when I can have the doors open and the windows open without either freezing or fucking suffocating because it's just too damn hot. Oh my goodness, Ruben R too? Holy smoke. It's a whole crowd. Thank you all so much for being here. You're making me feel so special. By wanting to come and hang out and listen to me yammer. Feel free to give me things to talk about because I mean, I don't really think I have a plan. Um, ooh, nice. Odd happenings leading up to and culminating. Well, that's exciting. That is very exciting. Yeah, I feel like it was or is because it's one of those things that it's not like just at that one particular moment. It like leads up to it and then falls away. But um but yeah, I feel like, oh, and it was your north node too. Oh, interesting. Honestly, see, and that's astrology kind of feels like it breaks my brain a little bit. And like, there are times when I can sort of like understand how the things work, like over there. But then taking that information and trying to apply it to the complexity of my own chart, I just really don't know very well how to do that. Um, oh, I am definitely here for providing awkward silences. It is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people like, I don't know. My brain's just not that smart and isn't very good at coming up with fun and interesting things to talk about without some sort of like external fucking something. But yeah, so anyways, that is, yeah, so your north node. Well, wait a minute, do I? No. Oh, I'm gonna, maybe I'll have to look into that and think about that going backwards and just sort of apply it to sort of what's been coming up for me this week. I did find that it was definitely one of those full moons that definitely seemed to stir shit up. Like sometimes I feel very like, it's the full moon, it's time to party. But this was definitely not that. Yeah. Places. Yeah, I definitely, Pisces, I think I actually have a stellium in Pisces. I think that's what it's called when you've got four things. My moon is in Pisces. I think my Venus is in Pisces. Something else and something else. But yeah, with Sun in Virgo. So yeah, so a lot of people were sort of saying, you know, because I do like to do the tarot readings, the pick a card readings for the full moon, because I think that's, I don't know, I like what full moons sort of represent. And so I generally will try and do one for the full moon. Sometimes I don't, but so I end up sort of like doing some research in advance, and kind of what everybody seemed to sort of be saying, and this makes sense, is that like this was like it's a really big opportunity for sort of grounding the spiritual within the practical, but that it there's also, and again, I don't really super understand astrology a whole lot, but like Saturn was also showing up in the mix there, and so a lot of people were saying that like this is probably going to, force you to be sort of like looking at different mistakes that you've made as you set your intentions going forward, and like letting those lessons inform you in a positive and healthy way, and sort of like being mindful of the fact that like, um, you know, a lot of self-judgment may come up as a result of that, because it's kind of like forcing you to look at these things that might be like a little bit more difficult to look at. Um, but yeah, it is. I mean, basically, you've got the sun in an earth sign, and you've got the moon in a water sign, and what you get is a fucking pile of mud. And mud can be great for either getting stuck in or for giving you a facial. So, much like anything else, it's a tool. And, you know, it's just energy. Interesting. Um, Oh, well, thanks, Miss Fortune. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have no idea what I said. I do remember during one of the readings that I was like, ooh, I'm pretty sure that this reading is trying to tell me something too, because it's funny when I learned this when I was doing the psychic training in 2020, that there's this kind of interesting thing that happens where like some readings you'll be giving, and like and this is, it's a different idea than doing a tarot reading, but it's the same kind of thing. You're just reading energy. It's just using different tools, I guess. But they said that if something is really difficult to read, or like, in the psychic training, we were mostly learning, it was a clairvoyant training course, so we were learning to pay attention to the pictures that were showing up, and learning how to like describe them, basically. It was less interpretive and more literal than one might imagine. But regardless, it was kind of like if you were doing a reading that was hitting on something that was both very present for you, but also something that you hadn't fully made conscious yet within your own self, then it will actually be a little bit harder to do that reading, and it won't like flow quite as well, because like it's like, as it sort of bubbles through you as the vessel. Then this is not the way it was taught to me. This is just kind of the way I've come to think of it. But if, something is trying to move through you as a vessel, well, like, I mean, I'm not a perfect vessel, and I've still got my ego, and it's still my brain and my experiences and the pictures that are conjured internally that I'm talking to. And so if there's something it's like it gets stuck on the stickiness of the not quite conscious, and that it sort of drags down the resolution of the pictures in a way. But life as I see it, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Um, oh, thank you so much, Miss Fortune. That is such a lovely thing to say. Yeah, they're kind of like blockages. Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because like you don't notice it's only like if something is conscious to you, or so either unconscious or non-applicable, it doesn't seem to do the same thing. It's only when things are in that like weird place in the middle where like your conscious part of yourself hasn't, like, I don't know, sometimes I find it helpful to speak using the terminology of like internal family systems, which is I mean, I've been in fucking therapy forever, just forever. And that's this most recent therapist, that's one of the systems that he uses, and I found it really helpful because it's kind of like thinking of yourself in parts. And so it's like there's one of your conscious or semi-conscious parts has a fear or a concern, or an avoidance around whatever that particular thing is showing up, and so it tries to sort of like block you from having it. It's interesting. It's really interesting. Um, mhm. Yeah, when things are bubbling up, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and you may be trying to keep them down. Yeah, exactly. That's like when what I sometimes call the council of self, um, because it really does feel that way. Like, and I don't know what other people's councils of self, or councils of selves. councils of self look like, but my fucking council of self is a somewhat unruly bunch, and it is difficult to get them all on the same page at the same time and in agreement. um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Jeremiah, do you question your type? I thought, and I also don't have a super fucking good memory, so it's entirely possible I am not remembering this accurately. But I thought, aren't you an INFP? Or is that no longer the case? And Misfortune, have you, I feel like you at one point were feeling pretty close to a type, and then you were like wondering if maybe you weren't. Like, have you made any more um, uh, progress, I guess, in feeling closer to what your type is? Oh, I still haven't smoked a cigarette. Listen to me. Yammer, yammer, yammer. All right. You have made progress, you think. That's cool. Progress is always good. All right, let's see if I can manage to do this without taking shit out. I feel like it has been one of those days where I've been particularly sort of clumsy and like dropped shit or knocked shit over or just like barely looked at things. See, look how much it's raining. Like, it's like actual rain. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't know. It smells really good outside though. Oh shoot, I don't know if I can, how, okay, so the text disappears. How do I look at the chat? Is that how? Nope, nope, nope. Oh, wait, yep, live chat. Oh. Can I scroll? Oh, I can scroll. Sorry, you guys have to look at my finger on the side, and also need new glasses, so I gotta do that getting old thing. Oh, no. Oh, cancel. Oh, shit. Live chat. Oh, INTP? Wait, did you mean that you're Jeremiah Fix? When you said INTP, did you mean that that was what you were thinking you were? Um, I mean, I always consider that I'm deluding myself too, and I don't, that's not solely with regards to type. I think I'm quite good at sort of struggling with that, uh, yeah, sense of not being sure. Oh, Moochin. Moochin just came out. Let's see. Where did that go? There we go. Uh, yes, that was your assertion. So INTP. It's funny, I was listening to one of Dellis's videos yesterday. In the end, it only matters if you intend to work with it in some fashion. Well, yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I think that's true. But also, like, how could you, once you know about it, how could you not want to work with it? Connect that pure truth while living in a relative world. Ooh. Yeah, I feel like that's funny. I feel like that's something Melty would ask. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna read at my laptop too because these little texts are disappearing too fast. Ha ha ha. There we go. Yeah, it was interesting. I was listening to one of Dullus's videos yesterday, and I can't remember which one it was. I was on a walk and I had started off listening to his most recent one, and then it was on autoplay, so it just started playing a second one, and it was interesting. And I I need to go back and leave a comment on it. It was cool. He was talking at one point about how he feels about NE being his, which would be his tool function, and he kind of talked about it in a way that I sometimes sort of feel about what I believe is FE, and I'm totally like, always ready and willing to be convinced that I'm not the type that I keep getting typed as. But for the sake of argument, I just want to go on the record with that. For the sake of argument, um, let's say that it is FE Tool, and like, yeah, that it was just that it's like that it gets in the way sometimes. And I wonder if that's just an aspect of it being, the like a tool function versus, rather than what does Eric call it? Not an absolute value, but what's the other thing? The words that I can't think of. You all know what I'm talking about. Um, mm, different types. Yeah, yeah. It's. I'm thinking about your comment, Misfortune, about otherwise I find it easier to see others, and that's been really helpful too. It does make it easier sometimes to see others, although I think that um, oh, you coming up, Mr. Man? Coming up to say hi? You got a Mr. Man in the house. Um, and, uh, wait, what the fuck was I gonna say? I don't remember. Yep, I have no idea what it was. Oh yeah, that it can be helpful for other people, but it's interesting because, like, I don't feel like I am, like, I could type anybody, and, like, I don't know, I feel like I tend to, I guess there's not very many times when I am sure that of what I'm seeing as, I don't know, because I think I spent for quite some time trying to get an understanding of, like, well, what is, NI versus NE, SE, SI, like what the functions are in and of themselves, but like they don't ever exist in and of themselves. Like, that's like, it's like trying to understand. Wait a minute, let me see if I can. It's like trying to understand primary colors by only having whatever the non-primary colors are called. The phrase escapes me, but like, green and orange and purple available to us. Like, we never see blue. We can only see blue as it's impacted by red. So like, you can never, like, what TI, for example, is. I mean, it may be a thing in and of itself, kinda, but it's so strongly influenced by where it shows up and what it's in relation to, that I feel like I haven't gotten a very good idea of what anything is. If that makes sense at all. Like, I've gotten to the point where I know enough to know that I don't understand fucking any of it, which is kind of a bummer, but whatever. um, yeah. There's absolute, and there's I feel like, doesn't he use another phrase for 3, 2, 4, 6, and 8? Um, Yeah, you're right, Miss Fortune. You're right. The rubber ruler. What a great metaphor. Um, yeah, like I think it can be helpful as a frame, but I think like when Eric talks about how like different practitioners, or not practitioners, but different understanders over the years, like Jung saw it through his frame and Eric sees it through his frame. So like, yeah, maybe by having one or two each of the 16 types who knew everything solidly and were seeing the singular frame from all of their perspectives within the frame, then maybe we could see it better. But I don't know. Instrumental. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you so much. Yes, instrumental. That was the other phrase I was looking for. Ooh, it's getting dark out here. Mr. Man. He's just sitting here watching. Meanwhile, he's the foster cat. There's also Smoochy Moochy over here, but I don't know if you can even see her. She just kind of looks like a shadowy lump in the corner of the chair. Um, but wait, see it again. Um, no offense to anyone, but I think that they think it's solved and done. Yeah, yeah. I agree. I um, I tend to like. I don't know. I think I maybe sort of approach it. Yeah, exactly. Tool. So, mm, well, the tool function I know he usually calls two, which is instrumental. But I think he also refers to 4, 6, and 8 as being instrumental, though they have other names. But I'm not sure I remember them all. I think 5 is ignoring, 6 is critical. I can't remember what terminology Eric uses for 4. Um, but but yeah, I think I sort of tend to think that I don't know, like I think that we can both recognize that something is or seems to be true while also not asserting that we have a full understanding of the whole truth, I guess, is kind of how I look at it. Yeah, demonstrative, critical or demonstrative. I think you're right. Um, yeah, I can't remember. 4 is half instrumental. Yeah, and I think I can't remember if it's socionics or what type it is, but or what frame it is. But one of the metaframes that lives in this larger genus of typology refers to fourth as aspirational, and that does make a certain amount of sense to me. If I assume that I'm SE4, anyways. I haven't really tried so much applying it outwardly because I'm so much like not 100% on my own type that I am certainly not 100% on anybody else. Yeah, 16 valued yet countervalued yet demonstrative. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that the fourth is in, or I'm sorry, the first is certainly informed by the fourth, and like they live on an axis together, so there does have to be a certain amount of balance with the first. But I think it's like that on any of the accesses, whether you're looking at 1, 4, 2, 3, 5'8" or 6'7" because they're all going to be on the same axis. So they're kind of like intrinsically tied, like one informing the other, I think, in a way. um, well, like, so I can't remember what the other example that she gave, but so SE aspirational would be, uh, I don't know. I kind of think of a bit of it as like I aspire to be impactful. Like it's not that I am impactful necessarily, but like I aspire to it, and like that's where I'm trying to get to. It's just all of these other things have to fall into place first. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So that's kind of how I think of it, but like I said, I'm certainly no pro. Like, that's not super adding a lot of brightness. But, yeah, I don't know. But when I was getting typed by Amy Y, I can't remember what the other type was that she was torn between, but she was kind of not 100% towards the end of the session, the first time I talked to her. And so she asked me a question that was like, um, okay, so what's your, I can't remember, she didn't say what's your goal over the next few months or something like that, but it sort of boiled down to that. Like, what would you like to accomplish over the next, little while here in the short term? And I can't remember if she gave me like a this or that, but whatever. What I answered was snowboarding, maybe ISFP. Yeah, I don't know. Um, and and then she's like, "Well, that sounds like SE aspiring," and I was like, "Okay." And then I had a follow up with her because I got typed by her before I got typed by Eric, and then I had a follow up with her after I got typed by Eric, and she had subsequently watched my typing with Eric and sort of doubled back down on the INFJ. I don't remember if it was ISFP. It might have been. I don't think that was recorded, and if it was, I don't know that I ever got a copy of it. I don't think it was. So I don't remember. No, he bikes and cooks brisket. Fucking Ruben, that's awesome. Um, yeah, that, huh. I feel like I too have at different points in my life had sort of like one, like definitely like activity, like physical activity that I've kind of gotten into for a little while. Um, I think maybe, yeah, yeah. Uh, hmm. I don't bike anymore though. I don't even have a bike anymore. Well, I mean, technically I do have one in the basement, but it doesn't have brakes. So that seems like a bad idea. Um, but you can have the chair in here. I'm gonna go back inside. Alright, collect all of the things. Oop, sorry guys. I'm whacking you on shit. My apologies. Yeah, and I don't know, like, Oh yeah, gardening. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, one of the things, oh, hang on, before I forget, I'm gonna plug all my shit back in because there was that one stream that ended rather unceremoniously because I hadn't kept my shit plugged in and it ran out of the juice, and I was a little embarrassed by that. So I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. Um, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hmm. I think hmm. Yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked about snowboarding is that it was mostly kind of quiet and on your own, and in a really, you know, beautiful scenery. So it was kind of this sort of active reflection, and that's definitely what I get out of gardening. And I feel like maybe this is gonna sound strange, but like I feel like I don't know somehow like I'm not sure which direction it goes in, but somehow my physical tending of the garden and clearing out what doesn't need to be there and tending to the things that I want there and that I value there, um, in the physical world, it does somehow seem to correspond with how I'm interacting with my psyche, I think. You know, like I don't know. And I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure which is the cart and which is the horse, but they do seem to be pretty tied. Um, yeah, yeah, and it definitely has a sort of Zenish quality to it. And I've kind of always been like, I mean, a lot of the activities that I've engaged in, like for fun or leisure, over the years, and there have been a few of them. But they are usually pretty meditative type of things. Although I probably wouldn't have thought of them in exactly that way before I had a meditation practice. But like knitting is really pretty zen, and I mean, it depends on what kind of project you're doing. But if you're just working on a project where you don't really, like, you can just be going at a pace, and it's a little, um, yeah, it's like in the way that meditation teachers talk about resting your awareness on your breath. I mean, the breath is just the easiest thing that there is because we obviously always have it with us. But like, it certainly doesn't have to be the breath. Like, if you're doing a walking meditation, then you can, sort of ground your awareness on the feeling of your feet repetitively sort of creating that. So it's kind of like anything that has a sort of like cycle and a repeat to it that's got a short enough cycle that it kind of keeps you a little bit present. And um, wait, what? SE4, a need for an aesthetically pleasing environment, custom NI stuff, basically. Yeah. Does the Cosmos have shelves? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Karma's laughing, so I'm guessing that was a joke, but I apologize. Um, I mean, they should. I mean, there's lots of stuff, but but yeah, it's interesting. Like, I definitely, I mean, obviously, like, I have really cultivated this space to be a space that feels really good to me, and I've definitely always kind of had a thing for, you know, it's interesting. Like as I've done more reading on the autism thing, I'm still like I haven't been assessed. I have no idea. Pretty much all of the online assessments, like one of them I took, literally said there is 100% chance you're autistic, but I don't know. I mean, it's who knows. Um, and yeah, so I haven't been formally assessed at all or anything like that, but I have been doing some reading about it, and you know, different listening to different people and watching different like forums about it. And it's interesting because like one of the questions that came up was you know, about like different ways that you stem, and like some people will visually stem, and so like uh, yeah, twinkles and glitter and sparkles, and you know, just looking at things like that. um, and I like I definitely have always done that. Like I remember being a little kid and being absolutely just enamored with watching like when it would rain and there was like oil, and so you'd get the like the rainbow slick basically. Like I don't know, it's such a strange thing to remember, but um oh, Jeremiah says, well, yeah. Okay, before I get to Jeremiah's longer one, I just noticed that Ruben had one too. Your thoughts are passing clouds. No need to follow them. Exactly. And when I first started meditating, it was that, can't remember the guy's name, but it was or the name of the app, but it was like one of the like free apps about meditating, and that was like one of my first go-tos. And they used that metaphor a lot. Just, you know, watching the clouds just, you know, pass by. You don't have to do anything with them except, you know, if you notice them, then, oh, there they are. Okay, Jeremiah Fix says, I was looking at your nice decorating and remembering how shelves or oils make my mess less messy. And thought surely the objects in space must take advantage. I mean, they'd be foolish not to. um, I mean, who knows? Maybe all of the cosmos are just a, you know, pile of dust sitting on some shelf in the corner of some room that just hasn't been dusted in a very long time. You never know. Oh, it wasn't Eckhart Tolle, and I'm not sure I'm saying that name right, but I have also have heard him say it. No, it was some guy. It was like it was before 10% Happier. It was one of the like first uh, like I don't know. This was probably like 2013 or 2014. I think. I don't know. It was one of the first like meditation apps that was out there. I'd look on my phone, but I can't because my phone is busy looking at me. And I don't know how to navigate away from it without fucking everything all up. So I'll have to look at it later. 9% happier. 9% happier was succeeded by 10% happier. Exactly. um, but yeah, it is. It's a helpful metaphor, although it did take me some time to understand it, I think, because at first I was like, okay, then I'm the sky. Is that what you're trying to say? So it's helpful as a metaphor, but not as a frame. Yeah, that is a bow. I haven't used it in a few years. It's just a recurve with, I think it's like a 27-pound pole. Um, Certainly not intended to hurt anything. But when I was living up on Mount Hood, uh, I don't even know. Like I'd always wanted one, and there was an archery shop in the town that I lived. That I like the town that was closest. I had a grocery store that was like 45 minutes away from where I lived on the mountain. So to get to the grocery store, I had to drive by this archery shop, and one day I ended up stopping in just out of like curiosity, and kind of found out that I mean, at that time I was making a lot more money than I am making now, and found out that they were a lot less expensive, that like, especially if you weren't looking, like you can spend an ass ton of money on them, but you don't have to. Um, and so, yeah, it was pretty fun too, because like up at the mountain, I had a housemate up there who was this guy who's a friend of mine named Tom, who I'd initially met him because he'd been my landlord at a different place that I'd rented. When I first moved out here, I lived in Portland. Then I moved up to the mountain for like a year, and then I moved into this house. And this house that I lived in up at the cabin was a really cool place. Like, there's a whole fucking story behind it. There's this guy, like 100 or so years ago, who was a builder, and he built somewhere around 100 log cabins on Mount Hood from like locally sourced stuff, and it was like pretty much him and his son. And he like built them into his like 70s or 80s. I can't remember the guy's name, um, but each one was a little bit different because they were all just, you know, sourced from what was there. So they all had, you know, slightly different floor plans, and it was a really, really beautiful, beautiful place. And it was right like across the street from the Mount Hood National Forest. And in the backyard there was this little creek, and there were neighbors, but they weren't very close. And there were also a lot of it was pretty a lot of seasonal places or like short-term rentals, so there weren't really any neighbors who were like full-time neighbors. And so my housemate and I got got a bunch of bales of hay, and then a bunch of tiki torches. And the bales of hay were for target practice, obviously. But then we ended up setting up the tiki torches and making what we called Fire Alley, where we could go out at night and play with the bow. He had one too. His was a lot nicer, and you could definitely hurt something with it. It was too big of a draw, but I haven't even used it. When I herniated, I draw with my or pull. I can't remember the terminology anyways, but this is my right arm is the arm that I pull back with, and when I herniated the disc in my neck, it happened to be the disc where the nerve cluster comes out of your spine and goes down your arm, and so this arm has just kind of been, I mean, it was definitely fucked up for a while. It still causes me problems, and there's just like leftover, it's just not as strong as it used to be, and I've kind of been a little scared of pulling it down and trying it out since then. Um, but yeah, nope, I also don't, like, I can't do it in the yard. There's too many critters around. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. And there are a few places that you can go around the city. Um, I almost called them driving ranges, but they're not driving ranges, but they're for shooting, bringing your bows. Um, yes, you're this guy. Okay. Yeah. Ugh. You know what's funny? Okay, so Ruby, that's interesting. The seeing yourself from a third person perspective. This has, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm just a complete fucking alien, because I can't see myself from a first person perspective. That's my struggle. And I never quite knew that so consciously, but it was really interesting. Like I said, with the therapy, um, there, you know, the internal family systems, where there's like the council of the self, which is not terminology they use. That's just how I like to think of it. But there's, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? You know you're not supposed to scratch at shit. Um, but there are, you know, like once you sort of are starting to get to know the different parts of yourself, you're a goober. Once you're getting to know the different parts of yourself and like communicating with them, um, there's like different sort of, I guess, kind of like active meditative practices that you can engage in where like in the course of therapy, it's like you'll try and communicate with those parts, or sort of like get those parts to communicate through the self with the big S, which is what they talk about as the core self, I think, or something like that. And so yeah, so anyways, there's like times when, like, in therapy, we haven't done this in a while, but it's like I'll be in a sort of like half meditative space, like usually with my eyes closed, and just kind of like trying to talk to one of those parts. And a lot of times, if I can't find the words for something, I'll instead just kind of start describing what I'm seeing, like what pictures are happening in my head. And uh, it was when I started doing that that I realized, and I don't even remember, I probably didn't realize this. He probably asked me a question that then allowed me to realize it. But I was never describing what I was seeing from my perspective. It's like, even if I was in the picture, I was looking at me from outside and above myself in the picture. Um, and yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Kyle Cease talks about some. I don't know that name. Um, I think we should just say that, like, every time I'm like, I can't remember who that person was, we should just say it's Eckhart Tolle. Um, oh, that's a fun way of looking at it, karma. I don't follow the crap clouds anyways, I ride them. That would be fun. Um, it's one of the modern sports. Yeah, um, yeah, it might just be the lighting. I'd take it down if it weren't such a pain in the ass to get to. Um, but I mean, it was around, I think, like $150, so it definitely wasn't uh, super, super spendy. Oh, hi, Christine. How was your meeting? Did we, I mean, honestly, I have obviously been the one who's been talking the whole time, but I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I've talked about therapy quite a bit, and we probably talked about the moon, but I don't remember what we said. Um, and that's why I can't go back and watch these. Um, oh, you have another one in 30 minutes? That stinks. I have to say that's probably one of my favorite things about the new job, is that while I do have meetings on occasion, there's like one every other Thursday that's like 15 minutes long. And if you go into the office for it, then you get like a free chocolate croissant, which is, I mean, they're not all chocolate croissants, that's just always what I pick, but they've got like all sorts of like bagels and fruit and pastries and shit like that. Um, and then there's like a lunch meeting once a month where it's like a lunch and learn, where they give you a sandwich or a salad, and then they have different presenters coming and talk about different things that most of the time don't actually apply to my specific job, because I work at an engineering firm and I am definitely not an engineer of any sort. So a lot of the times the material goes a little bit over my head with the lunch and learns, but I'm required to be there. But for the most part, that's pretty much all of the meetings I have. Like, yeah, I think one of my, there's, there are things about this job that I genuinely like, and one of them, or maybe there are things about the jobs that I like, and there are things that are missing from the job that I appreciate that they're missing. And one of them is having to answer the phone. Like, every now and again, like literally once every few weeks, somebody will ping me on Teams, and ask if they can give me a call, and we'll have to have a video call about this, that, or the other, but that's pretty rare. I haven't had to answer an actual telephone since I've been there, and it is fucking glorious. Like, I hate answering the phone. Um, and like, especially with work stuff where you just don't know what's going to be on the other end of it. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times with the chocolate croissant thing, oh, it is one of my like more favorite things. Um, I a lot of times don't even really eat it during the meeting because it's a croissant. It literally gets crumbs all over the place, and then like I'm like, I'm not sitting at my desk. I'm usually get like down in the like more communal area with a bunch of other people, and they've got a giant screen. And some people are coming in by Zoom, and we've got 3 different offices. So like the people in Seattle and the people in Vancouver are in one corner of the screen. So anyways, I'm not sitting at my desk where I like have like place that can catch all of the crumbs. So I just I think maybe once I did it, and then I realized that I pretty much just left like a circle of crumbs around the chair I'd been sitting in, and I felt shame. So so I usually try and be at least not all about just the chocolate. And I usually get, some of the fruit too. And I'll just eat the fruit when I'm at the meeting because I don't know. Yeah, who wants to answer the phone? Um, nice job recapping, Jeremiah. That is excellent. Yeah. I know. I dislike it because usually they get a like variety of like there's like 3 or 4 of this thing and 3 or 4 of that thing. Um, and if there's only one chocolate croissant left and there's still people in line behind me, I don't think I'll take I think maybe that's when I will go for like my second choice because I don't want to take the last one. Unless I'm at the very end in the line, and if there's only like 1 or 2 people behind me, I'll ask. But oh my god, I gotta show you guys how cute he's being right now. Look at this little nugget. Oh, he was being cuter, but then I disrupted him when I moved. He's a good cat most of the time, but he does need a forever home, and I don't think it's here. But yeah, he's a sweetie. I call him Mr. Man. Oh, well, that's a good idea. Keeping the cleaners in the job. Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, now that I've been there 6 months, I'm not required to go in. Like for the first 6 months that you're there, you have to go in like once a week. Um, and I'm past my 6 months now, so I don't have to do that now. I only have to go in once or twice a month when they have like all staff collaboration days when everybody's required to be in. And I do really like working from home. Like I don't think that I would do this job if I had to go to the office 5 days a week. I don't know what the fuck I do, but I'd be looking for something else if I had to be in the office doing it, I think. Um, yeah, it is. It's cool. It's very, I mean, especially compared to what I used to do, it's very low stakes, which is lovely. It's definitely more of like an entry level job. It's not like you have to have some skills, but it's not like a super skilled job. Like you could teach anybody this job. You don't need any particular education or anything like that. So it is, like just what I used to do for work was just so intellectually demanding and was also always just so fast paced and I just suck at boundaries. Like, and my boundaries around work, especially, I am just very bad with. And like for example, today. So I usually work like 8 to 4. And, my department is me and one other person. And when we're both there, I mean, sometimes it's kind of busy for a little while, but for the most part, it's not nonstop throughout the day. It's not like just going from one thing to the other, which is what it used to be like. But today, my team member, the other person, Cal, they left early today and then they're off tomorrow and then we're all off on Monday. So I don't know if they were going away for the weekend or what. But anyways, they left half day today. And it just so happened that like 5 minutes before I was supposed to take my lunch break, something came through that is like the one, like there's a couple of things that are sort of complicated that we do, and this is like the most complicated thing. Like it's a contract, there's a lot of stuff to look at, there's a lot of stuff to review, and it was also like the first time I'd ever done one, and there's just a very particular like process to it, and I had instructions on how to do it all, but I ended up kind of working through my lunch break and then working until like 5:30 because doing that one thing just, you know, probably would have only taken Cal like maybe an hour, hour and a half, but like it's the first one that I've done and it's really complicated, so it took me like several hours. And like I definitely, nobody would have questioned me if I had left at 4. Nobody expected me to work an extra hour and a half, to get it done. Like, I very easily could have logged out at 4 and logged back in at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and finished it. Except that technically on Fridays we close at noon, and I'm trying to take tomorrow afternoon off because a friend of mine is coming through town and I wanted to catch up with her because she doesn't live close to here anymore. And like I know that Cal isn't there tomorrow, and so anything that comes in needs to be done. And like with my last job, I also didn't, like, I never had anybody to help me. There was nobody else on my team. I was my own fucking team. So, like, if I didn't get something done, I mean, it didn't get done. And if there were 15 things to do, then I was responsible for getting all 15 of them done. And so, a lot of times what I would do is I'd be like, well, if I just power through now, then it's going to make future me a lot less sad, uh, which is very different than happy. But it's going to make me a lot less sad or a lot less stressed because I know that there's still going to be things coming in tomorrow while so it's like, well, I'll just get this one thing done so that tomorrow doesn't suck, basically. Like, maybe tomorrow will, I don't know, maybe there would have been time for me to squeeze it in, but like, I don't know, the committee of self. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I think I have if it's to get something done for somebody else, I will probably kill myself trying. But if it's to get something done for myself, I'm just as, like, I'm better for everybody else than I am for myself. Um, Future me sometimes likes me, but no, I don't know if that's true. I mean, future me sometimes likes me. That quality of my personality of trying to be somewhat thoughtful and intentional towards things. I'm not as good at doing it if it's something that is just solely for myself. Like, okay, so here's a secret. um, I think I've mentioned before that, like, I don't know why I'm doing this YouTube channel. I don't know why I'm streaming. There's a part of me that feels like I'm supposed to. Like, it's purpose driven in a way. without a huge amount of clarity about it. But I kind of got a insight sort of recently, that like as much as I like the idea of me creating something or holding space or providing a space that is a benefit to other people in some way, I also think that it's an ass backwards way of me learning how to see myself. But I can't just do that for myself by myself. I need to outsource it to all of you. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know if that's true. It's something that I'm just starting to kind of get some clarity around. But like, it's not like it's both for people, but also the people are helping me in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I said, it's not very clear and I'm not very smart. So I'm not really sure how to explain it any more than that. But anyhow, Jeremiah says my father was planner director for Lake County Schools, worked for a while. Aaron got many things right on target. Director 2 levels. Huh. Hmm. That's interesting. Um, I think Boba Fett that my Enneagram is 945. Although, shit, Cami 9? Cami 9? I even know, like, if I went back and watched one of my streams, I know she does specify exactly how it's pronounced correctly, and I'm probably getting it wrong again. But anyways, she said that it might be worthwhile for me to look into 6 instead of 5. Um, and I can sort of see where she's going. And if one did believe in wings, I think I would be a 5-wing 6 rather than a 5, or I don't know how that would work. Or maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it then, since she mentioned that. What? The replacement didn't continue your father's contract? That's trash. Yeah, totally. Like, I probably wouldn't even, like, I'm saying, yeah, totally, like, you know exactly what I'm talking to. But I'm looking at that comment of Ruben's about being less likely to follow through on things for yourself than for others. I probably wouldn't be streaming if I didn't mention it in the video that I posted yesterday that I had plans to stream today. Do I have any actual real reason to believe that any of the people here are any of the people who watched my video and heard me say that? No, not reasonably, but it doesn't matter. It is Kami. Okay, thank you, Rach. And hello, thank you so much for being here. Um, but it doesn't matter because I did put it out there making a statement that, and I did it on purpose because I kind of wanted to stream, but I also knew that I'd kind of blow it off if I didn't actually like put it out there in a way, uh, like, yeah, kind of using others to hold me accountable in a way, I guess. Yeah. Oh, will it really? It did. Do you think it did come down to politics with your dad, Jeremiah? Um, that that stinks. That stinks. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so anyways, like with the job, I like that it's low stakes. I like that it's a lot less stress, because it's like, even just this afternoon, just that few hours, and then having that big thing, and like feeling like it was something that I had to get done. Like, oh my God, I used to feel that all the time. And it did. Like, people were like literally breathing down my neck for things sometimes. So it wasn't like it was completely made up or fabricated in any way. But like, God damn, I don't miss it. Like, I really don't. Like, it's such a, like, it's unbelievable to me that I lived in that high amount of stress for like over 20 fucking years. Like, I'm only 6 months out. And like, it is hard. It's a lot less money. It's, my last year and a half in my old career, I was working only part-time. And so I did have a 4-day weekend for the last like year and a half, which, I really needed. I only went to that place because I just so completely lost my shit after, in late 2020, when first my aunt died, and then Nairi died, and then another friend died, and then my cat died, and then the tree died. Like, it was just so many things that I loved and cared about, very deeply, died within a pretty short time. And it really did. It just broke me. Like, I just couldn't. I just was broken. And it is really hard working 5 days a week. Like, I still don't feel well, in relation to all of that really heavy stuff that hit, and like, I think the heavy stuff that hit also kind of like pointed to some other previously unresolved stuff, that just kind of got kicked up too. And fucking life's hard. So there was a lot there. Oh, hi, kitten. Look at this. I got 2 kittens in here. I got two. I got 1 and 2 right there, and they're not even being dinks to each other. That's amazing. That's amazing. Mr. Man, don't even think about it. I don't like it when you look at her that way. Get this glazed look in your eye. Here you go, girl. Let me move that out your way. You sit on that chair. Or on the back of it, whatever. She likes to sit on the back of that chair and fuck with things that walk by. Whatever is sitting there, she'll usually perch on. Um, oh, can I consider Chat a kitten? I love that. Yeah, he especially, like, he's a male that, and he's not mine. He just moved in like a year ago. Like, he's my neighbors, but it wasn't a super good fit, I guess. And I think he was really traumatized from wherever he'd come from. So anyways, he ended up here, and like, I didn't invite him in. I fed him outside a couple of times, and then he just moved in, basically. And she is a female, and she's like gonna be 10 in like a month. Hi, cutie. Um, and he's like male and like 3, so he's still got all sorts of kitten energy, and she wants nothing to do with it. So like, he'll like want to like play, and she'll think that he's like chasing her, which then makes her run away, which then actually does kind of like kick his sort of like chase instinct into drive. It's been a whole fucking process, and it has definitely gotten a lot better. And I think she's gotten to the point where she definitely knows that like he might be annoying and he might startle her sometimes, but she's not actually afraid of him. Like, he never tries to hurt her. Oh yeah, you got your other meeting to go to, we'll see you soon. um, but yeah, that's kind of what happened with Trouble. Exactly, you started feeding him and then he moved in. Yeah, yep, that's, I think it's a male cat thing. But he does, sometimes he'll just like watch her. He's doing it right now. Like, he's just like staring at her in this really fixed way. And when he first showed up, he would do that right before he like pretty much ran for her. I don't know. Ginger cats. Oh no, he's spayed or he's fixed. Um, he was adopted from the Humane Society, and they don't even adopt them out without getting them fixed. So yeah, he does not spray, which is cool. Um, yeah, that's. I've never had a male cat. Well, that's not true. I have had one other male cat before. Oh, Carl, he was a great cat. He disappeared rather tragically when I moved, and just broke my heart. But he was also fixed as a little kitten, so I've never lived with like an unaltered male cat. But it sounds awful. Because yeah, who wants a cat that can spray? All right, I'm gonna take you guys around and have another smoke. I wonder if I can keep you plugged in here and just. Oh, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's an attractive. That's a great angle. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Jeremiah Fix. It was really nice to hang out with you. You have a wonderful night, and I hope you get yourself some excellent quality sleep. I'm just gonna scoot you over to the doorway here. Rach, did you have a good full moon? We were talking a little bit about the moon earlier. I don't think I asked you that either, Boba Fett. Did I even say hello, Boba Fett? I'm sorry. I'm just not on my game at all. I feel like I have referred to you, but I don't know that I even officially was like, thank you so much for being here, Boba Fett. It's so lovely to see you. I really appreciate you being here. So I apologize if I did not previously say that. That's hella fucking rude. Oh, what a douche. I'm so sorry. I just, yeah. I don't know what my problem is. Oh, it's so nice. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like you can just sort of hear things dripping just a little bit. And maybe it's just because it's been so long since it's rained, but it sounds so nice. I don't know what the fuck else to talk about. I really don't. I feel like I've yammered as much as I can yammer. And I grab my computer so I can see the chat properly in case I'm missing anything. Oh, I am missing things. Yeah, I'm so glad you got to see it. So I don't think I even properly saw it because it didn't come above the. Oh, just realized how far I'm not pointing at myself. How about we have an awkward silence? Okay. As soon as I finished talking about the moon. So yeah, so it was coming up from the east, ish, and from where I am, it's like it has to come above a bunch of trees before I could see it. And I was just so fucking tired last night. It's just been, I don't know, I can't believe it's only fucking Thursday. Jesus. But it's just been a lot of days of not having very good sleep in a row and my neck really bothering me. And so, yeah, I went to bed before I could even properly see the moon. Like, I did do a, oh my gosh, there's 10 people here? Holy but Jesus. Oh my goodness, 10 people looking at me all at once. Don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak out. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But, yeah, so I did do, I meditated and did a ritual, pulled a couple cards for myself, shit like that. But I did that all pretty early in the day before it got dark. And then, yeah, totally fell asleep. So I'm sad that I didn't get to see it, but my body really was just insistent on getting the sleep. Um, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Fortune. That's so kind. Um, yeah, I tend to find that it's leading up to the full moon. It's in that last couple of days of waxing, um, where yeah, things will start to get a little weird for me. I know some people who kind of notice it more on the sort of downswing after the fact. Um, and I think I tend to notice it less then. But I'm also not super good at noticing, like, especially like stuff about me. Oh, Kami! Hello! Um, yeah, it's so overcast right now. I doubt I'll even be able to see it. Like, it's so overcast that there aren't even clouds. It's just gray. Like, I'll try and show you. But like, yeah, just gray. Like, oh, it's too dark. You can't see any of that shit. But it's there's just nothing. I would be incredibly surprised if there's any stars or moon that I can see this eve. Um, oh shit. Are you in a place, Misfortune, that is having, like, is it super red because of is there smoke in the air? Is that why? Is it that sort of post-apocalyptic? I saw some pictures, I think it was San Francisco, of the full moon yesterday, and they were having it was a really hazy day, so they kind of had that sort of post-apocalyptic sort of moon sort of looking. Yeah, you're Pisces moon too, right, Kami9? Oh, wait, I said Kami9, but did I say hello and thank you so much for being here? I really appreciate it. I probably didn't. I'm being a terrible, terrible host. No smoke, huh? It's the interesting. Well, I'm glad that you're not having smoke, anyways. That has been better here this year in Portland, and it's been really kind of strange watching on the news how many other parts of the country are getting just either walloped by smoky air or just fucking bananas weather or like super heat waves, shit like that. Um, um, but uh, in Portland, it's actually been, I mean, there were a few days that it got really hot, and there were a couple of days where it got a little smoky, but compared to the last 2 summers, which have been off the hook with like super bad smoke, like I now own 3 air purifiers because it got so just smoky over the last couple of years. But this year, here anyways, has been pretty not bad. Ooh, you're an Aquarius too. I'm an Aquarius sun too, Ruben. That's awesome. January 28th. I'm never gonna remember that, so you're probably gonna have to remind me. I'll definitely remember. Well, okay, I'll probably remember that you're an Aquarius, but I probably will not remember the date because I'm quite bad at that. But um, moon fake Aquarius. Yeah, exactly. Um, do you guys think I should change? Not that I necessarily am going to do what you say, but I'm curious to hear what people say, so that will help me think about it a little bit more. But I've been kind of thinking about changing the name of my channel, and I'm not sure what to change it to. The only thing that's occurred to me so far is just changing it to my full first name, which is Luminix. because I doubt that there's one that's out there that has that already, although I haven't checked. And I like I mean, I made that name up, so I obviously like it, but I don't know, I've been kind of thinking about it. Oh, here, I will type it for you. Yeah, I had to throw the two X's in there. Ooh, Winston's mom pulled your chart, Ruby? That's cool. Oh, you remember people's birthdays better than their names? I suck at both of those things. Like, what am I better at? I'm probably not very good at either one. Like, okay, so I've lived in this house for almost 10 years and have had many of the same neighbors for that whole time. And it's really only been over the last, like, couple of years. Like, I now know their names, and I know the house next door that way, and the one next to that, and the one next to that. So 3 in a row, 3 whole houses in a row. I know all the people that live in them. I mean, I think. And I know 2 people that way. So it's taken me 10 years to get that down. And like, I feel really awful because I have a lot of friends who seem to be extroverts. And so I don't necessarily see these people super often, but you know, I'll get like invited to a friend's birthday party or something like that, and I'll go to that birthday party and I'll see a pile of people that I have definitely met before, and like I have pleasant feelings towards them, so like I know that we probably interacted and that it was a good conversation or whatever. um, but I will have no idea what their name is. And like, there are some people that it's just been like so long at this point that I just kind of like can't ask. And I think part of it is because I don't really do social media. Like, I do have both a Facebook and an Instagram account. I haven't intentionally posted to the Facebook thing in years. I have made a few Instagram posts in the past little while. I think mostly to just be like, hey, I've got a craft fair coming up, for the few craft fairs that I've done in the last couple of years. But I don't look at it very often. And even when I post things, like, I don't scroll because it makes me feel bad. And so I think that would probably help me put faces to names and remember names and associations a lot better. But that's just too much work. I'm just not going to do that. Um, Yeah, you're bad at names too, Karma. That I'm glad to know I'm not alone there. Oh, thank you, Miss Fortune. Oh goodness, you guys are chatting so much. I gotta scroll back up. Yes, it. Okay. Star Wars is like that. Ooh, a grounded moon. That is a good placement. Ooh, interesting. Ruben, I can't remember what that means, but I have something similar. There's all of my stuff is on one side except for one fucking Saturn, and so it makes a shape, and so there is definitely something to shapes. I wonder, maybe it's the bowl. Is the bowl the one that's just? I can't remember what it means, but I also, yeah, I have a shape. Oh wait, now I need to scroll back down. Scroll back down, 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 down. Oops. I looked at Winston's mom's chart. Ooh, a seesaw. That's cool. I don't really have a whole lot of, like, I don't really know exactly what the different shapes mean, but I know that there is, like, the fact that they talk about shapes implies that there's some sort of significance to it. Um, yeah, another interesting thing, so when I was doing my research, so, like, I said fucking Saturn because fucking Saturn. It's the apex of the yod that's in my chart, and I definitely, I think I definitely have some struggles with Saturnian type shit, just psychologically. And I was watching when I was kind of doing my like pre full moon research about the astrology of the full moon, and watching different videos and reading a couple of articles. I can't remember who it was, but somebody referred to Saturn as um, being a shaman in some way, and I'm curious about that. I've never heard Saturn described in that way before, but I feel like that might be helpful to me to look at it through that lens. Um, but mostly, I just feel like, oh, fucking Saturn. I just want to shut down all the fun. Yeah, Saturn's a bitch. Ruben, that's awesome. I struggle to say hi to neighbors too. I need some sort of context, preferably. I don't want them to think it's overseas and just communicating with me whenever. Yeah. I feel like there was one time when I, like a long time ago, when I like tried to make friends with a neighbor, or a neighbor like was very friendly towards me, and I was like, okay, sure, let's be friends. And that I didn't live there very long, which ended up being good because it did end up being like she would just kind of like pop over. And I don't like spontaneous visits. I always wanted to be the kind of person who likes spontaneous visits, but at the end of the day, that's just not who I am. Um, ooh, what planets are involved in my odd? I could tell you that if I could look at the notes on my phone. But, ooh, can I look at the notes on my phone on my computer? Hang on, I might be able to tell you that. How do I do that? Where's my fucking notes? I think that must, yeah, notes. Or wait, was it there? No, maybe it was in photos. Oh, Jesus, that's gonna take fucking forever. Did I do something smart and make a folder for that? No, I didn't. I don't remember KB. KB9, sorry. Um, I've definitely taken notes on it and trying to like sort it out and figure it out and get a little bit of insight as to what exactly I need to be working on with regards to that Saturn yod thing, but haven't actually gotten it done. Or haven't actually, like, I feel like I always kind of hit a wall because it's so complicated. Um, and I also have like 47 fucking notebooks, so I'm not even sure off the top of my head which notebook I might have made those notes in, to be honest with you. But, so I will have to get back to you with an answer on that. Ooh, you're having your Saturn return right now. That, I feel like the Saturn return was a good time. Like, it wasn't a terrible, terrible time. Um, I can't remember who said that, Karma's Pimp. I think you were asking about who said that about the shaman. Um, Again, that's on a fucking note on my phone. Not necessarily who said it, but I could probably, we'll see if I follow through on either of these things, but maybe saying it out loud will increase the chances. Oh, that's why it's all crooked, is because it's on there's a foot. But I am at least setting the intention of looking at what planets are affected by the Yod thing, and I'll shoot you an email, Kami, and I'll shoot you an email, Karma, if I can figure out which video that came from. Is that, wait, is that mine, Miss Fortune? The Mercury, Neptune to Saturn? I feel like Mercury might have been in there, so that sounds like it might be right. Is that right? What? Oh, your Saturn return is kicking your ass. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds right. Nice. Awesome. That made it so much easier for me. Thank you. Yeah, and I like I said, I've started to look into like the houses and the planets and the signs and trying to like make my own sort of sense of it, because I know that it's kind of like with a tarot reading in a way that like it's not just the information that's being conveyed, but it's the meaning that the person who's receiving the reading assigns to the information that's being conveyed. Um, Wait, Saturn return, that's like, that's the thing that happens around like 30, right? Um, Jesus, 30, that was so fucking long ago. I don't even remember. I know that my life was really, really different. Yeah, roughly 28 to 30. Mm. Yeah, I feel that misfortune. Yeah, yeah. I think about that a lot, and I already know that in some ways, like, I don't have a super defined, like, dogma, by any stretch. I think I feel like I've mostly just kind of, like, taken bits and pieces of this, that, and the other. But I definitely do believe that, it's a cycle that we go around, and that, that we're spiritual beings having temporary bodily experiences, and that we're likely on that cycle lots of times, and that on some level, um, even if we didn't pick the particulars, that in some like existence pre-birth, that we pick some of the challenges that we want to have, or that we need to account for in some way. Uh, and so, yeah, I think about that a lot too, about how much is, yeah, not only karma from this life, but, you know, what's left over that we need to deal with. And according to numerology, the fact that I was born on the 14th, 14 is a karmic debt number. So apparently there is some karmic debt. Um, oh shit, you're moving to Chicago? I don't know where I thought you were. For some reason I thought you were maybe in the South, but I don't know if that's right at all. Um, are you excited to, well, you say finally, so finally implies that this is something that you want to do and that you've been looking forward to doing. So if that is the case, fucking congratulations. You are less than a month out. Have you already started packing? Um, yeah, I'm really sorry about your mom too. That's a really tough thing to deal with. There's a moochin. There's a little moochin that came to visit me. Can you even see her? No, she barely even shows up on the camera. See her little tail? Um, I feel like Scorpio is one of the signs that I don't know a whole lot about. I mean, I'm not very versed on any of it, but I probably know most about, well, the shit that impacts me, which, I mean, my sun, moon, and rising are all like the last three of the cycle. So I have a somewhat decent understanding of uh, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. But I think Capricorn is like almost the only Earth in my chart. Um, But I have even less fire. I feel like there is not very much fire in my chart, which kind of makes sense. I don't think I mean, not that I can't be fiery or have occasional moments of fieriness. I feel like there's especially like some political shit that will get me fired up pretty regularly, but I don't think I, on a day-to-day basis, sort of experience the element of fire with regards to my personality a whole lot in terms of like, yeah, ooh, you're very fiery. Mm. I feel like it always seemed more fun. Like all of the people that I've known that I would describe as being fiery, whether that's knowing something about their chart or not, it does seem as though they know how to have the good times, but it also seems a little chaotic. Um, Grand Fire Trine, holy shit. Yeah, that's a lot of some fiery shit. Yeah, Moochin is so cute. She's my sweet baby. Oh, and I forgot I brought the bong with me and then I never took a bong hit. I mean, I took a pile of them before I started streaming, but that was like eons ago. Um, yeah, and I still, like, I only kind of understand the houses. Like, there is this guy, Jim, who is an astrologer. I think he's here in town, and he kind of works on a referral basis, but he's an interesting guy. He's like a former retired engineer, and like, I think his first wife had died, and after he died, and he was ready to, like, you know, however long it was later, he was looking to meet people again, and somebody suggested that he take an astrology class because there's lots of women in astrology classes. And sure enough, he took an astrology class, and I think he did meet a woman who ended up later becoming his wife, although I might be fucking up the story. But so anyways, he's this just like older retired guy who uh, he found that he had a real love of astrology and really liked the math of it. And so he will just give like free readings to people, um, which, you know, like he won't accept payment. He just does it because it's fun. And I have a recording of it, like not a, I don't think I have a video recording of it, but I think I have, like, he said that it was okay to record the audio. Um, and I haven't gone back and listened to it for in a while. The only thing I really remember him saying was like, "Oh, well, you look like an Aquarius," and I wasn't even sure how to take that. But yeah, I can see it. I can see it, especially now. Ooh. Um, ooh. With the Vedic chart, for anybody who knows the answer to this, with the Vedic chart, does there is there is your what am I trying to say? Is your sun and moon always the same? Because I think in my chart it was only the rising that changed. At least out of the big three, I don't remember the rest, but it was only the rising that changed, and I didn't know if that was typical or not. Oh my goodness, why my nose so itchy? Um, what do they say? If your nose is itchy, you're gonna kiss a fool or get in a fight. I think that's what my nanny used to say. I believe I am a wooden rabbit. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if I'm remembering that right. I'm probably like, let's say 79. All of your big three change? So then it must depend on like where, like how many degrees into Aquarius under tropical, like if you were an Aquarius sign, it would depend on how, what your, like how many degrees into Aquarius. And it must just be that for which way it shifts by degrees, that my first two are just far enough in that they stay within the something like that. My mom does not. I knew what you meant. Um, Modern procession. Okay, I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's so complicated. Oh wait, precession of the equinox. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, Rachel, you're so good at knowing all of this stuff. I can't even remember fucking, like, okay, no word of a lie. It was probably in, like, I don't have very many, like, super clear memories, but for some reason this one comes back to me every now and again. But it was probably, I mean, it was before I was Lou, so it was probably, was it before? Yeah, it's probably like 2016 or 2017, probably. Um, and I remember going out dancing one night, and I mean, it feels like pretty much any first conversation I have with a bunch of gays, the signs come up. People talk astrology. It's such a trope, but it is also like my lived experience. Um, and I was still very much in the this was, I guess, before my spiritual reactivation, and like I knew that my sun was Aquarius because that seems kind of hard not to know just in life what your sun sign is, but I had no idea what even my moon and rising was, let alone anything else. And I used to actually kind of refuse to tell people what my sun sign was, because I didn't like the way that they would think that they knew me based on that one thing. But I think it's kind of also like, I think I think I was very much in resistance to myself for a very long time. And it's only been over the past few years that I've kind of moved out of that resistance. And as a result, everything has kind of become overwhelming. So I guess in some ways, maybe I should have maintained that resistance. Although it would have been less authentic, it probably would have been more comfortable, at least in the short term. Hmm. It is so confusing, I agree. Hmm. I don't think I was attempting egolessness, certainly not on purpose, anyways. No, I mean, I think that I do still have a fear of looking at myself. I obviously edit all of the videos that I put out that are edited. I'm the one who does the editing, obviously. If somebody really knew how to edit, it would probably look a lot better. But like with the live streams, this, I think I've done 3 so far. This is my 4th, and I have looked at none of them. I've thought about looking at them and rewatching them because I don't know. I feel like in some way, like I should, like that would be helpful in some way, or that I should, I guess. But I haven't, and I think the reason that I haven't is that um, yeah, there's something about seeing myself that I'm not very comfortable with. Yeah. Ooh, bong rip. Hell yeah. Do it to it. Um, yeah, I don't know. Hmm. What? What? Come and say hi? Oh, dude, you're wet. I don't want a wet kitty on me. That feels yucky. Ugh. Um, yeah, so I think that's part of it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, hey, Winston's mom. How's it going? Thank you so much for being here. Um, It's good to see you. Ooh, a gummy worm for the munchies would be great. Yeah. Yeah, taking space, existing. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I believe that Winston's mom moon is Aquarius, if I recall correctly. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it, taking up space and existing. Like, it's so funny. Like, okay, so I don't do like the other social medias very much, but I do spend probably too much time on YouTube. Like, I do consume quite a bit, and a lot of it on 1.5 times speed. Some people on 2 times, some people only at normal speed. Like, for some reason, Beau of the Fifth Column, who has said of himself that he believes he speaks quite slow, for some reason, I cannot listen to that dude sped up at all. I don't know if it's that he's got a little bit of a drawl. Like, it's not even that it becomes unintelligible in any way. It's just that I can't, for some reason, I just can't cognate on what he's saying when he's sped up. But anyways, my point is, I consume a lot of stuff. And there's a just endless number of people creating content, and some of them very opinionated content, where they seem to, without any problem at all, strongly convey their deeply held beliefs or their political stance or whatever. And that totally boggles my mind. Like, I just can't even imagine that. I just really can't. Like, I I don't know. Like, it really does. It kind of amazes me, and sometimes I'll kind of ask myself, like, why is it so difficult for me to even just confidently talk about my own experience, which people really couldn't question me on that much, even if they wanted to, let alone talk about things that are more mercurial in a firm way and not be just constantly terrified. Um, I don't know. It's it's weird. Um, I don't know. I think maybe for myself too, it's in that, like, this is probably old programming that I just received, not entirely on purpose, but it's like internally there's this sense that, like, and I don't, not all of me believes this, because this is going to sound sort of weird maybe, but there's definitely at least a part of me that persists in the belief that I don't have anything of value to say. Um, and so I think that I don't know. I think that that's where some of the timidness might come from, is that, like, if I do say something and then somebody starts feeding back to me from the external world that, what I have to say isn't valuable, isn't correct, isn't valid, then that's just going to be pretty devastating, probably, because I'm still not quite at the point where that internal voice isn't already quite loud. So having it validated externally is painful, which I think probably plays into why I try, especially historically, I try so hard to be so perfect and like overperform in so many ways. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm missing lots of chat here as I ruminate about my own fucking psyche. Oh, Ruby, you're just picking up nicknames from everybody now, aren't you? Oh, I don't even really eat candy all that much, but for some reason, maybe it's just because they're all pastel colored. But those gummy worms look really good, and I'm imagining that they're the like Sour Patch type of gummy worms, which again, I don't eat very often, like once every few years probably, that I'll have a Sour Patch Kid that I randomly get from somewhere. But gosh, that would be good right now. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm glad that at best someone finds my random ruminating interesting, and I mean, at the very least, I love the idea of creating a space where people can connect with one another and hang out together. So, like, oh, thanks, Ruby. Um, oh, nice. That's awesome, Winston's mom. A weed gummy and a Xanax. That's fucking sweet. Um, oh, thanks, Miss Fortune. That's very nice. Yeah, if you guys could like, that'd be great. In my I uploaded a video yesterday that was for the full moon, which I recorded and edited the night before, and really enjoyed making it. Really enjoyed editing it. Um, Felt like I did a few things differently this time, both in like pre-production and, well, I guess through the whole process. I don't really know what all the fucking parts are called because I just don't know anything about anything. But it was, I think, the first time I actually made notes for myself, which sometimes I'll make like, you know, some chicken scratch with a couple of bullet points on a page that I kind of like have over, but like I drew out like pages of like kind of like, not anything was actually like scripted word for word, but just there was a lot of information. Um, and I think it was also the first time, like, I usually start videos, like non-lives and non-short videos, saying, you know, I'm Lou and I want to welcome you to my channel or welcome you back or something like that. And like this time I actually uh, said something a little bit different. I think I said I'm Lou. I'm a maker, artist. I don't know. I named like 3 or 4 things that one could describe me as if they were being generous. I do make things and I do intuit things. Um, and yeah, and I think I actually, in all 3 of the readings, at one point, probably at the end, actually remember to ask people to like the channel and consider subscribing. And like, it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to do that. Like, yeah, it's interesting. And it's, yeah, I don't know, something that I think I definitely could stand to do a little workaround, because like, it's not only really hard to do that, it's so hard to do that that when I see other creators doing it, I kind of cringe. So like, there's definitely something there. Like, I'm not reacting to them. They're not doing anything wrong. Like, they should be promoting their own work. It is valuable. And I guess that's the thing, is like, there's a part of me that's really having a hard time owning the idea of uh, being valuable enough to actually say to people, hey, I'm valuable. Come buy my shit. Come watch my stuff. Come engage with me. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I got all high and super vulnerable. Oh no, there was a fair and you missed it? Bummer. The town that I grew up in, Stratham, had a town fair every year at this place called Stratham Hill Park. And it was, like one of those fairs that traveled around. So it was like all of the rides were put together and then taken apart a few days later, and games and shit like that. And it was literally the only thing that happened in town every year. It was like the one thing that was done. But it was fun to go to, grow up going to that as a kid. Oh yeah, Eric said that you got a little cold and that you seemed to get over it pretty quick. Are you feeling better? Oh, Ruben, that's brilliant. Yeah, go the route of self-deprecation. I feel you. Ooh, sorry about that. I almost always like the blue and the red of any candy best. Doesn't matter what kind of candy. Whether it's a Dum Dum or a Starburst or like, fucking, what are those things called? Whatever, other type of candies. If they come in red and blue, I'm probably gonna like the red and blue best. And even chances are pretty fucking good that I will actually only like the red and the blue, which is kind of annoying because I feel like a lot of people have a preference for the red and blue and they package that shit accordingly. Um, and they know that people are gonna buy for the 20% of something that's red and blue and just suffer through the green, yellow, orange. Um, but I know there are some. I think there are some candy companies now that actually will. I think there are different kinds of Starburst, like maybe it's Starburst, where it's like only the red and the pink or something like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty recent. I think that's a pretty recent phenomenon. I don't know. I don't buy candy very often, but maybe it's just because I smoke cigarettes. I look at candy a lot. Like when I go to the convenience store to buy tobacco, I will oftentimes walk up and down the candy aisle and then not buy anything, because I'm like, I'm sure it's bad in a million ways, and I can just make myself something that's gonna be just as bad in some ways, but a whole lot better in other ways back at home. Um, yeah, I have been curious if you were gonna do more with your channel, Ruben. That was I don't even play guitar, but I thought that video was great. I enjoyed watching the Spacey video. So I am definitely, if you are a person like me, which maybe you are, maybe you aren't, I don't know. There's definitely some similarities there, but if you are a person who uh, benefits from being overtly encouraged by other people, I think you should definitely, if you are wanting to make content, you should definitely make content, because I think you'd be just terrific at that. You already are terrific at that. Um, mm, mm, mm. Oh, no play summer. That's a bummer, misfortune. Mm. You delete comments? Do you really, comments, Pimp? That's so much work. Wait, who deleted comments from where and why? I have trouble talking myself out of some things, Rach. There are, I don't know, I'm a little weird with food. I definitely have some food stuff, and I find it pretty easy to restrict myself from most foodstuffs most of the time. Every now and again I don't. But something, I don't know, it depends. Like candy is almost always something that's pretty give or take. I struggle a lot more, so like that's easier. The chances, like if I had to go into a bakery to buy my tobacco, there's no fucking way I'd come out of there empty-handed. So it depends. It depends on the thing. Sometimes it's real easy, but sometimes it's really not. It is hard to put yourself out there, Ruben. Like, there are parts of me now that, like, I mean, part of the reason why I wanted to stream today is because I didn't want to go too long, because the fear starts to recoalesce the second I hit stop on a live stream and slowly starts to recoalesce. Same thing with making videos or posting videos, too. It is, yeah. You like to cringe at what you've done, Boba. That's funny. Entire essays. Oh, I rarely take the time to actually leave a comment. If I do, it's usually just something that I feel really, like, I really liked this thing. I don't usually share super complex thoughts. Yeah, it is a way of controlling the narrative for sure. So much reading, so much reading. Yeah, definitely post something short, keep the momentum going. I don't know a whole lot about the Midheaven. Wait a minute, Karma's Pimp. Are you being for real when you say you save everything you delete or decide not to send? Really? No. That's so organized. Alright, oh, sorry, Mr. Man. I didn't mean to startle you. I'll be right back. I have to use the restroom. I'll be back. it up. This is what you do. I should have pointed it down so you could have at least been looking at this cute kitten. I'm gonna make you share, dude. Okay. Come, come here. Mm. Lump of useless cat. Look at this lump of useless cat. Look at this lump of useless cat. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Oh, he is a good guy. 5 minutes till midnight. Oh my goodness, it's almost. So wait, that means it's almost 9? No, 10? Oh shit. Oh fuck, it's almost 10. I gotta go. Hmm. I save some stuff some places sometimes, but there's like if I almost never go back and look at it. Like even in the journals, like I just can't go back and look at them. So it's almost stupid for me to make notes about things like that, since I never go back and look at them. But nice work, Christine. Got it back. I see now I can't not call you Christine, even though I know your name is Christine. um, but mm-mm. Yeah, he is a pretty relaxy kitty. It's true. He he's pretty comfortable with being handled. Like and this isn't just me. Like when my friend Emily was visiting a few weeks ago, yeah, she's just the same. He's just the same with her. Just totally, yeah. Um, I am gonna have to wrap this up in a few minutes though, just to give you a couple minutes warning, cause I didn't realize it was almost 10 o'clock. Time flies when you're hanging out with friends. Um, and I didn't realize I had gotten so late, especially since so my computer, I think this is probably not great, but here I'll show you what the problem is, and you can tell me if this how not good this is. Oops. All right, so all right, I'm gonna take this out of the stand. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Sorry if it was, but okay, so I'm gonna see on the side of the screen here these lines. I'm thinking that this means that this computer might be gonna die someday soon, and that makes me very, very sad because I'm not going to be able to replace it with any prompt amount of time. But um, yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah, these black lines showed up along the side of the screen, and where they happen to be located is right over where the date and the time are. So I didn't realize I had gotten so late. Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to catch it, Christine. This is awesome. Yeah, that worked out so well. Um, thank you so much for being here. Thank you all so much for being here. Um, I would love to not know what day it is like that. Oh, fucking life goals. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I will say that I am now probably less than before just because of the nature of the work that I do for, the work that I do. I had to always be very aware of the date before, which is a little bit less of a thing somehow now. I mean, kind of, but not really. But I guess that's a step in the right direction. Oh, I'm so glad, Ruben. I love being uh, helping to inspire and motivate somebody to get some shit done too. Um, yeah, it's true. Rising tide lifts all boats. That is one of the great sayings. I don't know who said it, but it's a good one. It's probably like, I don't know who it was. Um, yeah, lack of time. That would be awesome. Wait, what? Oh, okay. That was awesome, Ruben. You are real good at, yeah, a good fucking callback. That was excellently done. Yeah, I also am wondering what Aquarius INTJ will be. um, yeah, I feel like I missed Eric's stream yesterday. I think entirely. Um, I don't know what the hell I was doing. Oh, I was being witchy. That's what I was doing. Um, so it was really nice to get to see you all. I missed you guys. Oh, yeah. I really wanna support Flow State. I have been there a couple of times. I've never been in the chat. I've checked in for a couple minutes here and there. I get mad really fast when I go there, and it doesn't feel good. It just makes me feel. Uh, I don't know. It makes me feel like a little bit like the way people think and feel about things is just, we're all just in such places that um, I don't know if, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make me feel good. But anyhow, um, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think probably one of the, like, I know I don't have the ability to debate people, so when I come across um, like views that just don't feel right to me, though I couldn't quite TI them and extrovert that TI in any way that would make any fucking sense. It just makes me feel this kind of sense of like hopelessness. Like I want to communicate and be a part of those kind of conversations, but I also know that I'm not very good at being part of those conversations, and I definitely get like I'm really um, yeah, I get upset really easily. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know, but um, yeah, it's ridiculous how much time I spend watching people debate, and like that's a real fucking skill, and it's not a skill that I have. Skill maybe I wish I had. Like that ability to not only internally have such clarity about the way you understand things and the why of how you understand those things, but to also be able to communicate those. Like, I mean, yeah, yeah, I don't know. That's just, I have gifts that lay in other arenas, I believe, rather than in that one. But Anywho, um, but I do, I think I sub to him. I get the notification, so I must. Um, but yeah, I'm just not very good at arguing. I'm not very good at, like, text communicating at all. Like, just in chat. Like, I think, I don't know, like, I think that if, yeah, I don't know. I struggle with it. It's hard for me to, like, especially on live streams, like, it's really difficult for me to be paying attention to both the, uh, like, audio input of what the content creator is, like, saying, and also the, like, conversations. You like a very slow, friendly debate over time. Yeah, like, I like having conversations with people, and, like, I think if you were to ask, like, my mom or maybe my younger sister if I liked to debate, they might not say no, um, or they wouldn't say no anyways as quickly as I would. um, but I think part of that is in, well, probably a level of, like, comfort and familiarity, um, and also just believing that I'm right, and so kind of just, like, arguing on on the convictions of my belief. And it is, and there, it's not like a debate where, like, nobody yells, nobody gets mad, like, somebody, it's more of like a conversation of opposing viewpoints where one person might talk over the other for a minute and then apologize about it, and where no actual conclusion is actually made and no minds are changed. Hey, so yeah, I guess that's really more of just a conversation. But yeah, but I don't know. Oh, no worries, no worries. I'm not even sure what exactly, I've definitely heard and seen the phrase ad hominem, and probably even Googled it a time or two. But what exactly does that mean? To make it like ad hominem, and I still don't really understand. Like, again, this is a phrase that I've heard a lot. That I kind of, like, I definitely have a picture for it, obviously, and, like, I kind of get the, like, vibe of its meaning, but I don't really, like, exactly know what it means. And that's straw man. Wait, what? But were you talking shit about the FI front stack people? Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. We're, nobody needs that. Everybody's awesome in our own special way, and we all suck in our own special way. But I did hear part of that live stream, and it felt a little incoherent to me, and I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. And I wasn't there for very long. It was when I was multitasking, and I wasn't looking at the chat at all. I was only listening to what was happening, I think, for a little bit. Steelman is good. It is the way. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. Here's some, I'm actually getting some info. Um, Oh, yeah, that's trash. Um, wait, what? Common logic fast answers. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Do Winston's mom, do you, and I feel like, and Kami, I don't know if she's still here, but if she is, I am wondering if, oh, okay. I am wondering, what do you guys, like, I know that politically several of you here are definitely not in alignment with his politics, but just as a debater, I guess, I'm curious what you think of Vosh, who I know has been around for a while, but because I am relatively clueless and fairly checked out, I only, and he'd probably been mentioned probably by Winston's mom to me before, but I only recently kind of came across him. I don't even remember why, but it was relatively recently. But um, yeah, I'm just wondering if y'all have thoughts on him. Oh, Kami9 left a little while ago. Did I say goodbye? I might have even said goodbye. If I didn't say goodbye, then I missed it. Um, okay, but that does make sense. That's helpful. Thank you both so much for helping me understand that better. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are many, many things about which I have no problem being pretty dispassionate about, and then a few things about which I have trouble not feeling, uh, or not, I have trouble being dispassionate about it. So, like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Is that FI? I don't know. Am I an FI Dom, guys? Do you think? Is it possible? I don't think it's possible. I think I'd probably understand my own emotions better. Maybe not. Who knows? But but yeah, I feel like there's, and I feel I'll have to think about this more. But I feel like I feel like even when I was younger, like super younger, like I remember being a little kid and feeling very passionately about a woman's right to an abortion, um, and that just being like, that's just medical care. That's just, like that one. I don't think, but there's lots of things. Maybe less now. I don't know. I don't understand myself, and I don't remember very well. So who fucking knows? But um, oh, Flo State's here too. Hello. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wait. I'm not sure if he is an autist interlocutor. I think he is not terribly intelligent based on what little of his content I have watched. Matt Dillahunty. I feel like I have watched some of Matt Dillahunty's stuff, but not a lot of it. But I definitely know that name. I think probably that was definitely initially for sure Winston's mom. I think he is honest. Like I said, I don't have any of the context, and I know basically from watching his recent content where some of his old content comes up that there has definitely been an arc for him. So I can't speak to where he used to be, but but I don't know. I like the guy. I do kind of like the guy. Like, I am curious. What do you think his type is? Oh, thank you for answering that before I asked it. Wait, you think, no, that can't be right. Satan came and told you, ooh, that full moon energy, was it tickling? Turn it. They do say that, I mean, Pisces, full moon in Pisces is the intuitive moon, so, I mean, I wouldn't call it Satan, but if you want to, that's fine. You think Vosh is ENFJ or ENFP? I definitely don't see ENFP at all. But maybe I'm wrong. Interesting, interesting. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That it was the line. That's the one. Okay, I don't know who Jimmy is, but the line, that's the Colin show, isn't it? I've watched that one before. I mean, gay socialism kind of is the future, I think, but that's just me. Um, yeah, and Gore Vidal is a name that I have heard and nothing more than that. Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell, I feel like I've watched talks with him or interviews of him. I didn't even know that he debated, and I don't think I've ever seen one. Yeah, I could see maybe ENTP, maybe. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. You're an 8. Is that is that an Enneagram 8? Or are you talking about a different system? Oh my god, you are all so much smarter than me. Enneagram? Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Um, sorry, I got stuck watching the chat. There's too much happening and it's all above my head. Yeah, y'all are way smarter than me. Alright, I'm gonna shut this shit down because it is late and I do have to work in the morning. Thank you all so much for being here, and I feel like I have a lot of reading I should do that I'm not going to do, and a lot of people that I should watch that I'm not going to watch, but I am going to copy and paste myself a list that maybe someday I'll look at. Um, there's too much all the time. I don't know what bits of socialism we already have are the things that I think are best. Not best, but I think are some of the good things about what we already have, and I would like to see more of that. Like, I mean, I am a fan of public schools. I'm not saying they aren't without problems of a variety of sorts, uh, you know, but I am a fan of the idea of public education, and I like Social Security. I mean, I probably won't get any, but again, I like the idea of it. So, like, I feel like I'd like to lean into those things rather than away from them. But I don't understand how we have fascism economically. I do see, like, I feel like economically, I would, and I don't have a very in-depth understanding of anything, but I do think our economy and the status quo is really fucked. Um, and I would like to see it be very different. And I would like to see the path to that very different from the way it is now accomplished with as little suffering as possible. Any of that too much to ask? Ooh. All right, well, I don't know if this chat will go away or not as soon as I close this. I don't know if there's a way to check that. Yes, the world is a scary, changing place, and everyone is looking to someone who answers. Yeah, I'm not really super interested in a sky daddy or an authoritarian. That's just me. Okay, yeah, I love you guys. Oh, here, I'll look at you over here, because even though you're actually here, because this is where your words are showing up in front of me, I can best get to you here. Unfortunately, I haven't done that very much, but thank you guys so much for being here. Truly, this was a wonderful way to spend the post full moon, and I am deeply grateful for every one of you. And yeah, y'all shine like the stars that I can't see because it's too fucking overcast. So, love y'all. See you later.